I would say that the service has given the school an ability to support children and support families that haven't really been able to done before. Previously, if parents have come to us with these sorts of issues, then our hands are already tied because of the relationship we have with parents, and because of our capacity to actually offer any practical support. And since we've had the PSA service to refer to, then we feel that we can really intervene and really support parents, so children can ultimately succeed through school. The impact on the range of children whose parents have been working with the PSA, typically we see increased confidence and an increased support from home with things like reading and homework and things like that just weren't on the agenda beforehand. Also, we're seeing children become a lot more confident socially in the classroom. Simple things like being invited to parties and parents also having the confidence to invite children back to their house, where previously they wouldn't, because they'd be worried about managing behaviour or just worried about their responsibility. It's had a big impact on the children that would use the service. I found from our school and from our school community that the PSA has given us something that we've never been able to do before, and it's really put the school right at the centre of the community in terms of what it can provide for the families and the children that attend.
As an educational psychologist, it has been very helpful working with parent support advisors, especially with the support they can give the family. Quite a lot of my work is supporting the child in the school setting, and it's that crossover to support the family in the home setting that's usually required, and it's quite difficult to bridge that gap between the two settings. So I feel that the parent support advisors have an invaluable role within giving support to children in an educational setting. The work that I've been doing with the parent support advisor, we've been developing a intervention in order to support children, quite vulnerable children, who are transferring from primary school into secondary school. And again, that's an invaluable piece of work, because we're working with the parent support advisor, we're able to support the parents in a way that they can then support their children, because we understand that it's the parents who have the biggest influence over the children, not the schools. So without the educational psychologist working with the parent support advisor, that piece of work wouldn't be able to be done. And really what we've been doing is trying to increase the capacity of the parents in order to support the young people. And from the work we've done last year, we know that it's been quite successful, and we've had quite challenging youngsters who have been able to stay in secondary school. And we'd like to think that's part of the work that these two services did together.
I found out about the Parent Support Advisor service through, I did an Incredible Years course, and that led on to meeting a PSA and joining the Next Steps group, which is something that we go to every month, and we talk about what we learned in the Incredible Years course, which is really good. Going to Next Steps, we were invited to go to Avon Tyrrell on an activity weekend, which was absolutely brilliant. The whole family got to go. There's myself, my husband, my stepdaughter and my son. We had a fantastic time. We did raft building, pizza making, adventure walking in the dark. It was absolutely brilliant. It changed our situation with our stepdaughter, who wouldn't come and sleep at our house and wouldn't sleep away from her mum, and that was the first time she'd slept away from home, was there, and she loved it, and it was just such a life-changing thing.
It's made it a lot easier for us because my son has some learning difficulties as well, and it was sort of helping with managing his behaviours and some techniques and how to get him to do things. Because one of our problems with Thomas with his eating and using the sort of the techniques and everything, he's actually now sitting still for a meal, and also now he's actually sitting and having school dinners, which we didn't think when we started school we'd be able to do, but he's managing that really well now.
The teacher recommended me to the PSA who came to the house because I was struggling with Alex going to school, particularly with tears, and his confidence isn't high. Well, it's a lot better now. Through there, she recommended the Incredible Years programme, which I went to 12-week course, and it was very helpful and informative, and the support of everyone else, and to know you're not the only one struggling sometimes was quite helpful. He made me see that I needed to support Alex when he felt sad more, and point out more of the positives rather than keep him sort of like boosted, and it's made a big difference because he's come a long way, even with school say how different he is, a lot more cheerful at school. We get no tears now going into school, which is incredible.
With Josh's school, they put me in contact with Georgina. She came round to the house, and for the first time she came round, she spent a couple of hours. We were just talking through everything, really helpful. But along with Georgina and what obviously she's taught us and what we've gone into school and said as well, because of that, his self-esteem's right back up here again, so it's good impact on school.
Well, I first came in contact with the PSA service because I actually found one of the leaflets in school, and I was at a point where I wasn't really happy what was happening in school, and it was, where do I go next? One of the PSA staff came round to my house, and I was a bit nervous about coming round, and I didn't really know what to expect. And I kind of expected like maybe a 10-minute appointment, and 2 hours later and many cups of coffee, I just had found myself talking about myself and the issues that I'd had with my children in the last couple of years and my anxieties and fears. I started off, we actually did a relaxation course, my daughter and I, and it was actually at that when I kind of really began to realise what problems I needed to address, and I kind of went back to the GP and I talked, because when we were doing the relaxation course it was very obvious that that particular time of night was difficult for my child, that she found very hard to be in with a group of children, and there were a lot of things that were very, very simple techniques in the relaxation class that both of us actually took away to help us relax. And then the whole family actually went on an organised event at a place called Rylands Farm. We went away for 24 hours camping, and the whole weekend actually was a great time for us four to be away together. The other thing I'd like to mention is the Webster Stratton parenting programme, which I decided to do, and I'm really, really pleased to say that now we're doing a lot of the strategies that were suggested, such as special time, which is just basically spending time alone with her, and that's still carrying on. We tend to do it in big blocks, just for time's sake, and once a week at least we have, both me and my husband have time alone with either child, whereas before it was always probably the same child, and I probably didn't have so much time with my younger daughter. Now I know it's important to have time with her as well, and actually that little change has made a big difference.
I got in touch with the PSA service through Poppy School. We had separated from my partner a few months earlier, and we weren't doing so good, and I felt like I was shouting at her all the time, so I wanted to find different ways to help her and help us, and I spoke to the headmistress at Poppy School, and she told me about the Barnardos PSA service. Then I got a letter through telling me about the fun days the PSA service do in the school holiday times for the children around the local area, and Poppy and I actually went to the one that was at her school, and that's where we first met the PSA service, and they've been helping us ever since. Poppy and I have done a course called the Freedom Programme, which has opened my eyes up to an awful lot of things that I can protect myself from and Poppy in the future. Telling them some of the issues you had, and it's quite a daunting, scary thing to do. It wasn't intimidating at all, and I think that just it puts the parents at ease because they don't feel like they're being judged, which the service doesn't do.
Referred through the psychiatric nurse, and she recommended me that I get in touch with PSA service and see the help I can get, and obviously see what is available, because she was totally aware that we need help, and she was aware as well that I was stuck and I didn't know where to turn or where to get advice from. So from the first time we met, I knew I could call her if I need to say even something. If I've been disturbed or if I had issues, I could just call her and say, Helen, I really need your help. So it was just brilliant to know that this person is there for me, being firstly as a friend rather than unprofessional.
As a teacher, it's quite easy to be focused on the huge amount of planning and assessment and getting standards up, but also there's obviously that other life that children come through the door with. But I found it very beneficial, and I would hope to see more things like that happening in the future. I certainly would be signing up for anything else.
I think Barnardos brings a consistency to the delivery of a parent support advisor service, which can also be tailored to the needs of each individual school. And it's specifically, we're extremely good at ensuring that there is very good supervision for staff, and of taking the load off the head teacher so they don't have to worry that the staff member is doing what they should be doing, and they can just let them get on with making very good relationships with parents. The Barnardos staff are very well trained and have continuing professional development, which ensures that when new ideas come in, they're the first to be able to implement them. And staff have often helped schools to refer things that they've been uncertain about, and have been involved in common assessment framework assessments and in referring to social care where it's clearly a safeguarding issue. And they seem to have been able to refer on without alienating the families, so they're able to continue working with the family even after a referral has been made to the social care service, which is quite an achievement. The skills that our staff have in identifying what the concerns are second to none.